Hello dear students and welcome to our MyEco B1, B2 Intermediate English lessons. The topic of our lesson today is present perfect continuous tense. So, let's begin. Present perfect continuous tense is also known as present perfect progressive tense. It is the same as present perfect tense. They are both used for similar situations and actions. For example, I have lived in this small town for 25 years. I have lived is present perfect tense. I can also say, I have been living in this small town for 25 years. Present perfect continuous. So we can see they're used in similar situations. With present perfect continuous, I'm focusing on the continuity, the continuedness of the action. To make a present perfect continuous sentence, I use the auxiliary verbs has, have, and they are followed by been and the verb with an ing suffix. So for example, he, she, it has been verb ing and I, we, they, you have been verb ing. Let's start off by looking at present perfect continuous with action or stative verbs. So, with the positive structure, we know it is our subject, have, has, been, verb ing. For example, I've been living in London for 2 years. He's been sleeping on the sofa since 8 p.m. She's been talking about them for hours. It's been raining all day. It's wet everywhere. You've been crying since last night. We've been waiting for our friends. They've been sailing for 2 hours. So what you notice here is we have our structure, the subject, I, you, he, she, it, we, they, have or has, been, and our verb with the ing ending. It is also possible to make some contractions. So instead of saying I have, I can say I've, I apostrophe V-E. And instead of saying she has, I can say she's, she apostrophe S. Now let's look at some negative sentences. For our negative sentence structure, it is our subject, I, you, he, she, it, we, they, have or has, not been, verb ing. So the important thing here is to make the sentence negative, we add not. For example, I have not been sleeping well lately. He has not been coming to work since last week. She hasn't been taking her medicine for days. My dog hasn't been eating anything lately. You haven't been exercising all week. We haven't been visiting them for ages, and they haven't been talking about the project for days. It is also possible to make contractions in negative sentences too. So instead of have not, I can say haven't, or instead of has not, I can say hasn't. To make a question using the present perfect continuous, have, has goes to the beginning of the sentence. So the structure becomes have, has, subject, been, and our verb with its ing ending. For example, have I been lying in this hospital for a long time? Has he been studying English for 2 years? Has she been studying hard lately? Has it been raining outside for an hour? Have you been reading the same book over and over again? Have we been just waiting here for nothing? And have they been thinking about calling us and asking about welfare? To answer the questions, we have our short answers. Yes, I have. No, I have not. Or no, I haven't. Yes, he has. No, he hasn't. Yes, she has. No, she hasn't. Yes, it has. No, it hasn't. Yes, we have. No, we haven't. And yes, they have. No, they haven't. And of course, yes, you have. And no, you haven't. Now let's consider the situations where we use present perfect tense. The first situation is this: when we have actions or situations that started in the past and are continuing up until now, we use present perfect continuous. For example, I have been writing poems for 30 years. I started 30 years ago and it is still continuing today. Another example, Sandra has been studying at this university since she moved to this city. Sandra moved to this city and since then she has been studying continuously at that particular university. The next situation where we use present perfect continuous is when the actions began in the past, they have newly finished, so it just finished, but the effects and the consequences are still continuing. For example, they have been setting up their tent for hours. They have just finished it. Again, they were setting up their tent. That action is finished. Now they are inside the tent, so the effects and consequences are continuing. Another example, it has been snowing all day. It is freezing but sunny. The period of time here is all day. It was snowing and it is newly finished. When we have actions or situations that use words like lately, recently, since, for, up to now, until, now, just now, all day, all week, all year, then we're going to be using present perfect continuous tense. For example, Martha has been wasting her time lately. Or, have you been visiting your family all week? We have just been trying to help you, and he has been doing great up to now. For non-action verbs, meaning verbs that do not get an ing ending, we cannot use the present perfect continuous. For these verbs, we use present perfect tense only. For example, we have believed in you since we learned the truth. They have known Elizabeth for years. I have understood your situation from the very beginning. And he has had his car since he started work. All of these are non-action verbs: believe, know, understand, to have. It is not possible to give them an ing ending, so they can only be used with present perfect tense. So that's all the information about present perfect continuous. Now let's do an activity together to make sure we all understand. Now here we have some sentences and they have some mistakes. We are going to correct those mistakes together. Let's look at number 1. Number 1 says, I have been having this computer since 2010. The problem with this sentence is, we said to have is a non-action verb. This means it cannot have the ing ending. So the correct sentence is, I have had this computer since 2010. Present perfect tense only, not continuous. Number 2, Gina has been tried to lock the gate. Gina has been tried to lock the gate has to be Gina has been trying to lock the gate. Remember, the structure for present perfect continuous is has, have, been, verb, ing. Number 3, Harrison and his wife has been walking by the lake for 2 hours. Harrison and his wife, 2 people, the same as they, have been walking by the lake for 2 hours. Number 4, the students have been understanding the steps of the experiment. They are ready to try it themselves now. This sentence should be, the students have understood the steps of the experiment, because understand is a non-action verb, so it can only be used with present perfect tense. Number 5, Mrs. Naidu has been believing her husband since they got married in 2001. We already know believe, non-action verb, so the correct sentence is, Mrs. Naidu has believed her husband since they got married in 2001. Number 6, I have been loving street animals all my life. Love is a non-action verb. I have loved street animals all my life. Number 7, Jessica has been running since 2 hours. I'm afraid she will faint. The correct sentence is, Jessica has been running for 2 hours. I'm afraid she will faint. Number 8, all the interns has been having an exam in the multipurpose room for 8 in the morning. The correct sentence, all the interns have been having an exam in the multipurpose room since 8 in the morning. And number 9, have you been fishing? No, I have been fishing. I have been collecting seashells. The correct question and answer should be, have you been fishing? No, I haven't been fishing. I've been collecting seashells. And the last one, number 10, they have been studying French for 5 years, but they still can't speak it fluently. They have been studying French for 5 years, but they still can't speak it fluently. And now our 15th lesson is complete. Now you can start solving the questions after this video, and I will see you in the next lesson. Bye bye.